The next thing that we're going to explore with the transform property is rotate. With the rotate value, you can rotate an element clockwise or counterclockwise a specified number of degrees. Let's look at how we can incorporate this into our project. Once again, I'm starting with a basic HTML page. I'll go ahead and create some styles, and we're going to use our box div, although this isn't going to look like a box. I'm going to make it look more like a teardrop. I'm going to specify background color, width, height, and margin. And we'll apply a border radius, but the border radius is going to be applied so that it affects each of the 4 sides of a square uniquely. We'll use 5% for the top, and we'll plug in 50% values for the remaining sides of the square. If I save and we look at our page in the browser, it's going to look like this. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll apply the transform property on the hover state of this div. So we'll use box.hover, and we're going to go ahead and specify transform. We'll use the rotate value, and as I mentioned, the rotate value is going to take the number of degrees that you want to rotate the item. So for right now, let's just put 45 degrees. I'm going to save, and when I refresh and hover over the item, you can see how it moves 45 degrees so that the tip is going to point in a different direction. So now that you understand how transform works, let's go ahead and add in some animation. On the box element, I'm going to go ahead and specify transition, and let's transition all, and let's have the transition take 2 seconds. In addition, I'm going to add transition timing function, and we'll use ease in out. Now on the hover state of the box, let's also add a change in the background color, and instead of just having the shape rotate 45 degrees, I'm going to actually have it rotate in 3 full rotations. If you want to have it rotate in subsequent rotations, you'll need to multiply 360 degrees. So if I wanted to rotate 2 full rotations, I'm going to have it rotate 720 degrees. If we save and we go refresh in the browser, you'll see that when I hover over, the item is going to rotate around 2 full rotations and change color. And then when I mouse away, it's going to run in the opposite direction. If we use negative degrees, then the object is going to rotate counterclockwise. So now when I hover over, you can see that the item is going to rotate around in the opposite direction, and when I hover away, it goes clockwise. In addition to specifying degrees for the rotation amount, you can also specify the keyword turn. So let me create another element, and I'm just going to copy the one we have, and I'll give this a class of B2. So this will take on all of the attributes that we've specified here. And I'm going to make a rule for .box.b2 : hover. And instead of using the transform rotate and passing on degrees as we did before, this time I'm going to specify an amount that I want my element to turn. So for instance, if I put 0.5 turn, it's going to move in the clockwise direction, and it'll move half a turn. And just to visually separate these, let's pass on a different color for this element. If we save and go back into the browser and refresh, you're going to see that I have 2 elements. The second element is only going to make a half turn, as you can see when I hover over it. And if I wanted it to turn 2 full rotations, I could write 2 turns. If I save now and I refresh, you can see that it's going to spin around 2 full rotations. You can also pass in negative values. So if we passed in negative 2 turns, now instead of going clockwise when I hover over the element, it goes counterclockwise, and then when I hover away, it goes clockwise again. So as you can see, you have some flexibility. You can either pass down degrees if you want to use a precise amount, or if you're just interested in making something rotate around a full turn or a half a turn or a quarter turn, you could use the value followed by the turn keyword. Rotation can definitely add a level of interactivity to your web pages.